So the ups and downs of the stock market can be really confusing, leaving us to wonder if it's a good time to invest. I spoke with David Donhoff at Leverage Planners for his take on the stock market and what we need to keep in mind depending on where we are in life. I hear right now that the stock markets have hit another new record. So does that mean now is a good time to invest in stocks?
It's much less a question of where the markets are or where they have been or where they're going. It's much more a question of where we are in our own life. They say what goes up must come down, but also what goes down eventually comes back up. The question is, can we wait long enough?
So what types of people do you serve?
The typical people that work with us are what we call blue jean millionaires. They're the boring, frugal, high work ethic neighbor next door. We have a lot of first generation, second generation immigrants, basically people that knuckle down and work hard. And a lot of people think, well, someday I might be a millionaire. Many people that have accumulated $400,000, $500,000, $600,000 of total retirement money, plus the accumulated income that's coming in the future. They don't realize it, but they've already crossed that line. A lot of us are better off than we fear we are. And it's important to understand what we really have and how it applies in order to make sure that we can sleep easy at night.
What kind of concerns are you hearing most from people?
Right now, we're hearing a lot of people concerned about what we talked about last week with the Washington State Long-Term Care Trust Act, which is now putting forth a mandatory payroll tax. And people don't like that. For those that have none, they have some built-in long-term care coverage from the state, but it's nowhere near as good as you can get for the same dollars or even less in the private world. And clients that are approaching retirement want to make sure that the money they cannot afford to lose, they're guaranteed that they will not lose.
If you do have your own long-term care investment plan, you can opt out of that tax, right?
That's right. Now you have to have appropriate long-term care policy that's at least as good as the state policy. And that's a very easy hurdle to clear.
So what kinds of stock investments are you recommending for your clients in this market right now, if you would share that?
Statistically, we know it's impossible to accurately time and pick the stock market. So it's more important that we structure allocations to make sure that the money that we can afford to have grow is left alone to grow, which sometimes means it dips. And the money we can't afford to lose is safe.
Can you explain again what green line accounts are and what does principal protection mean?
This example, this chart of the tortoise, the hare, and the snail. The red line is market investments. It's all the things that you can invest in and become multiple rich or bone broke poor. So for example, my 30-year-old son, I'm telling him you have the bare minimum reserves in place, pin your ears back and go for broke, because it's okay. If the markets dip, it'll come back and it'll be fine. You got lots of time ahead of you. When you reach your 50s and 60s and definitely into your 70s, you want to have more safety, less risk. So the blue line is the bank. FDI insured to $250,000 per person per company, zero risk of loss on that, and you're not going to make very much. So the green line are principal protected account. They're insured by the state of Washington to double FDIC levels, $500,000 per person per company. When they go up, you get an interest rate that links to the stock market, but when they go down, you keep all of your gains, don't lose a dime. So you're going to end up over the long run making more money at risk in the stock market, and in the safe money, you're protected in the banks, but the green line account runs somewhere in between. It's a good in between. It's the best place for the safe money that we want to grow that we don't need to access for emergencies.
I mean, it sounds like there are trade-offs with all of them, right? How much can you actually make on a green line account?
We have seen accounts right now after the Corona crash of March last year that have come back and actually put in around 40 to 45% gains. Never happens all the time, but in this really rare period of the most recent 12 months, we've seen accounts grow anywhere from 20 to 45%. What happens when the markets crash? When the markets crash, the green line makes zero. However, when everybody else is losing their home, are you okay making zero? Ultimately, for that account, that's the right place to be. Zero is your hero.
Zero is your hero. I love that. How can people get in touch with you?
You can come to any of the social media. You can come to our website, leverageplanners.com. You can call or text us at 425-223-4520. And whether we can actually take you as a client or not, we like to help everybody that calls. So don't be shy.
Thanks again to David for always that great advice. And to get in touch with him and the team at Leverage Planners, please just call the phone number on your screen or visit the link on New Day's website. Well, I love perusing those small, locally owned jewelry stores, and we're going to do that right now. When we come back, I'm going to introduce you to a real gem. Look at this gorgeous selection of engagement rings that are also eco-friendly. I'll explain how that works.
This portion of New Day Northwest is sponsored by Leverage Planners.